So is that? I think we're on.
Would you like to be able to?
How can I know? Hooliganism. Alrighty. I think I'm on. I don't know. Maybe if I check my phone, maybe it'll pop up. How are you meant to know if you're live? If YouTube's not deceiving me. Let's have a check. If I go to my... that's not it. Oh, look. We're here. Wait, can you just tell me if I've done this right? Can you hear me well? I know I look like I'm in space. But can you just tell me if I'm doing this right? So I'm not making a total fool of myself. How's it hanging? There we go. Yeah. Old video OMG where someone recursively streams. What's going on, people? I feel like you can see me and hear me, and I'm kind of amazed at myself. Alright, let's just jump into it. I figured, I've never done this before, but I figured I would, because I've streamed once or twice before to some success and a lot of failure. I figured it'd be cool. I can't leave my chat up and do this at the same time, so you're going to have to see a bit of this. I figured I'd show you like the behind the scenes of me doing my research for videos, because ultimately it's interesting. I always go on tons of tangents when I'm making these videos, like in terms of research that never end up in the videos. So I figured I'd do this because, you know, I can chat to you guys, which might be cool. And yeah, how's about it? Let's see how we go. It might be boring or it might be amazingly cool. Oh mate, Felix just dropped £1. That is the easiest £1 I've ever made. Thank you, Felix, for the £1. Amazing. I think he's even added a little salt shaker just to add some flavour to his donation. Alright, can you get a shout out? Norwegian cool kid? Hell yeah, you can. I can already tell this is going to be more distracting than had I just streamed on mine, but that is fine, you know. Sometimes you can lessen your productivity and up your fun. Wise words from Jimmy the Giant. Thank you, iRollerboot. I do appreciate that. Yeah. It'd be great to collab with you. Let's try and get that done. My production quality, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that, because it's not just me. I have an editor, and we work together, and we've kind of made this style. So all right. So what I'm doing now is I put a post up today about doing different topics, and let me find the person who said it. But we had a geezer say, do football hooliganism. That's a hard word to say. Do football hooliganism. And I thought, that's a fucking great idea, because it is very interesting. Football hooliganism is a thing that plagued England really badly in like the 2000s. Let's just give credit to the person who came up with the idea. Trying to find it. But yeah, basically, it's just hooliganism. Yeah, there you go. So you got Vintovsky. Something. I tried. And effectively, football hooliganism was this real, from my memory, and this is all I know of it right now in this second. I just need to close my door to realize my flatmate's going to get annoyed at me. All I know of football hooliganism is in the 2000s, it was all over the news. It just constantly, like, you'd always see, these football fans have gone to war with these people. It was really bad. Someone got hurt. Someone's upset. And you'd always hear about it. And there was like this sort of string of films, I'm going to say, in the mid-2000s. Now, we'll double check that in a minute. That were just effectively all about football hooliganism. It was Green Street, Football Factory. Danny Dyer was in loads of these films, and they were really good films. Like, if you're from America and you don't know much about British culture, definitely watch these films. There was one, actually, I think it was Green Street, that featured, what's his name? Mate, I only know him as Frodo. Whatever his name is. The guy who played Frodo in Lord of the Rings. There was one film, I think it was Green Street, that featured him, right? So Green Street, I'm pretty sure it's him. And the whole premise was that this American guy, there he is, Frodo, boy was he different. He was far less wholesome in this film than he was in Lord of the Rings. But there he is. So he was an American, and he comes over to England and gets stuck into like football hooliganism culture. Another word for that is firm culture. But we'll get into that in a bit. Because honestly, I know very little about it, just my memories of like the 2000s. So what do you guys remember of football hooliganism? Let me just put in the chat. Bro, football hooliganism is nothing in England. Comparison with the Balkans, Poland, Turkey, Eastern Europe and South Europe. Okay, cool. Let's add that to my notes. Let's just make a little... So apparently English hooliganism, that's what I'm going to call it, hooliganism. English football hooliganism. It ain't shit compared to... I have heard this. Apparently, like, the Polish guys, like, they were pretty wild. The Turks, I've heard that too. I didn't know much about South Europe, but I know, like, yeah, a lot of Eastern Europe people were pretty wild with it. They'd go to actual wars and, like, they'd meet on bridges. I think I remember watching a video that was, like, this bridge, and they all just went in and battled each other. So, to actually explain what football hooliganism was, each football club would typically have what they call a firm. Every club will probably have one, which is a gang that's associated to that football club. They're like die-hard fans, and they will fight each other constantly over seemingly nothing, you know, to the outside world, to me, to you probably. It seems very petty, but these people will put their lives on the line to fight other football fans, and literally they die sometimes. So we're going to look into it. I thought this might be interesting. So yeah, nothing compared to Europe. I appreciate that, Mackie. How long have you been in parkour? Okay, I'm not going to read every comment. But yeah, like 15 years for parkour. Do love your videos. Thank you. Shout out to WL Media. Shout out to Flipping with Jake. Jimmy, what's up, bro? I'm just going to look for ones that are related to hooliganism for now, but I do appreciate all the comments. Pardon me. Okay, so we went Leighton Orient. Dang, I remember Leighton Orient. Isn't that like I feel like that's even near me. Americans know the other dude from Sons of Anarchy. Oh shit! Oh my god! I just realised that's the guy from Sons of Anarchy. Dang. Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, there he is. Mate. That's your boy. Yeah, I didn't... Does he play an English guy in this? I can't remember. I feel like he... Yeah, he must have done. God, he looks proper English, mate. He looks like every guy you'd see at a pub on like a Friday night. Interesting, yeah, I didn't realise that. Okay, yeah, it was during the recent Euros World Cup that England fans were pretty surprised by the violence of some of the other country hooligans. So, do we know who are the worst? Let's have a look. So, worst football hooliganism. Worst countries for football hooliganism. I've heard like some of them literally train for it. Like they they practice fighting and stuff for it. Balkans are mad. Rise of a Foot Soldier, great film. Let's add that to the list. So this is what I do when I'm making a video. I tend to just get notes and just chuck shit at it. And if something's like relevant, I can explore it further later. But for now, I'm just getting things that I should search, you know. Stemmed up from the Sunday special trains that was super cheap. See, that's interesting, right? Stemmed from the Saturday special trains that were super cheap trains dedicated to taking fans to lower league games, right? So that's really interesting because it's like, if this is true, it's saying that because of a specific thing, and in my videos I love talking about a specific thing that causes something, right? Whether that's in a sports video, maybe some specific invention that led people to doing a new trick or something like that. But this specific thing is Saturday specials, which I'm going to guess is a ticket, like maybe a saver ticket on a train, meaning that more people could get on a train, meaning that probably these fans collide and fight. So that's probably where you're getting at with this, so that's kind of interesting. They should have professional £10. Mate, I need to live stream more. Thank you so much, Teabag. What the fuck? Dude, appreciate that so much. Amazing. Have you watched Ross Kemp's documentary on hooliganism? See, I remember watching it, but I just can't recall it off the top of my head. So let's put that down the list. Documentary, because I do remember that. Ross Kemp definitely is going to be talked about in this video because he is like a British tough nut, right? Let's get Ross Kemp up here. So Ross Kemp is your classic, just British hard nut, right? Proper fucking geezer, and he would appear in lots of film. I think it was EastEnders he started on, but he just ended up becoming like, you know, your SAS, or I can't remember if he was in any football films, but he was like your tough nut, right? Your proper geezer. And he had this series where he went around just interviewing crazy people. I think it was called like World's Hardest Man or something like that. Ross Kemp on gangs you got here. Polish football gangs, that links back. So what we'll do, we'll chuck that one on the list. So we got a nice little link here. We got Ross Kemp and we got sort of talking about Balkans. I always say that wrong. So Ross Kemp on gangs. We'll watch that video in a second. So it seems to be, yeah, the neo. So I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but like I'm gonna have to say it because it's an important part of the video. But there's definitely like a strain of sort of like neo-Nazi kind of people in these gangs. I'm not to say all of them are. Not to say it's all about that, but there definitely is some of that. So that's going to be part of that for sure. But we're going to look into that because when you talk about an issue like that, you want to make sure you're talking about it correctly. You don't want to make sweeping generalizations of people, and you don't want to falsely accuse someone of being something they're not. So we'll put that there, but that's obviously going to be a tetchy subject. So let's be careful with that one. So what else we got? Yeah, so it's quite a few where the gangs, so he did a whole series on gangs, but presumably quite a few of them are football gangs. So it's interesting. Proper geezer though. Loved Ross Kemp, man. He was in a thing called, was it Ross Kemp? It was called like Unit something. It was like an army thing. It was great. So let's see. I missed some chat. So yeah, sorry, I didn't even finish reading your thing. P.S. I've watched you for years. You get more handsome year on year. That is just such a lovely thing to say. Thank you so much, Teabag. Really appreciate that one. Keep it up. English hooliganism has had its heyday in the 80s. Okay, so is that true then? English hooliganism potentially peaked in the 80s. And I do wonder, because I think it is less now, although I do remember a few years ago it was all over the news again. It felt like for the first time in a while. And I think that was at the World Cup. But I can't remember. I just remember seeing it a bit. I feel like we were clashing with like Russians and stuff, or maybe it was the Polish. And what someone said earlier about how it was kind of known that the Poles were way more vicious than the Brits. Like they were just kind of better hooligans, I suppose. So did it peak in the 80s? I remember hearing it most about in the 2000s, but obviously I'm 27, so I wouldn't have heard about it in the 80s. I was not even an idea in someone's head at that point. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll look into that. So, heyday in the 80s. Nowadays, the Eastern Europeans take it seriously. Half of them are trained paramilitaries. That is sick. Okay. By the way, I'm not trying to glorify this stuff. When I say it's sick, I just find things like this cool. You know, if you've committed your life to getting into football fights, at least do it properly. God, my webcam looks so bad. I'm sorry about that. We'll get a new one if we keep streaming. I mean, I've already made 11 quid doing this, so it's definitely, maybe something I'll do. But this is fun, you know, just chatting with you guys. And I'll maybe get better ideas as well. So yeah, the paramilitary. So Polish hooligans. So do anyone know any names of Polish hooligan, like football hooligan gangs? Or firms, I don't know what you call them. Polish hooligans are military trained. Now that's really interesting. I wonder if they get fired from their job. You know, if you're in the army and then you go out fighting people over football, and your sergeant finds out, I'm sure he's not going to be happy. So let's find out about that. In Poland, a new film about hooliganism is on Netflix called Furizia, which is basically Polish version of the Frodo film. I love that we're calling it the Frodo film. It was Green Street, or Green Mile. Was it Green Street, not Green Mile? That's the Tom Hanks film. Boys, it's not just Teabag, it's Sir Teabag. It is Sir Teabag. Big up Sir Teabag. He's the top don at the moment. I'm just going to give him that. Sir Teabag, you've got the title of top don. Alright, all that money, paper. Agreed. His Afghan docs are pretty interesting too. Yeah, was it? Nah, it weren't the Afghan one where he... mate, I'm just going to show you a clip, right? So Ross Kemp, robbed or something. I'm sure this will come up. Yeah, this is so wild. I just want to give you a taste out of Ross Kemp, right? This is the man, the myth, the legend, right here. So this is a real clip. This isn't staged. And bearing in mind, I don't think Ross Kemp actually has any military training or anything like that. I'm not sure, but basically, he's just a tough nut on TV because he's look at him, proper geezer, and this situation happens, right? So Ross is pulling up. Dark music, these guys, I don't even know, my fucking thing ain't loaded, let's just double. Okay, so he's hiking and guerrilla people, like a guerrilla warfare. I'm not sure where are we? Doesn't say. He's a serious boys, man, look at him.
We're going to meet some guys that have been involved in some trouble.
I'm going to meet some boys that have been in some trouble, right?
That's true. Yes. Depends on what you want to know. You can have a tobacco.
Clearly, I'm being tested, so I accept graciously.
I wonder why they're giving him tobacco. Do you reckon it's like...
Next, beetle number.
I don't know if I can show that. This is...
The infamous stimulant
It's not age restricted.
everyone seems to chew.
So they're basically giving him their drugs or whatever. And he kind of has to take it or they're going to be offended, I'm guessing. Damn, he could just be taking whatever right now. This could floor him. Okay, let's skip forward a little. He's not happy about it. It's coca, maybe cocaine or something. Alright, so this is where it all kicks off. So you hear that? That's an actual, like... This is genuinely real. This isn't staged, right? So they're literally filming with these guerrilla warfare people out and wherever the fuck. And all of a sudden... Boy says, sit down.
You're holding us up.
Ross, you holding us up? What a response. Imagine that's what you said. You holding us up? Someone comes at you with a gun. And the first thing you say isn't, I'm sorry, just, oh, sorry mate, sorry, no, I don't want any problem. You holding us up? Look at him, mate. His body language is proper right. Everyone else is shook. Like the guy, the boom operator is shook. Ross is standing strong. He's trying to act nonchalant, just drinking that water. And he's trying to call his bluff. Look at that, mate. He has two guns in him. He has a shotgun and a rifle being pointed at him. And Ross is acting like it's nothing. I don't know if he's like just in character or something. But he's playing this, I think, right. Like he's unfazed. Like a massive guy compared to these lads. And he's just staring them down.
You're going to kill me? Really?
Dang.
Are you going to kill me? Are you going to kill me? No? You're going to kill me?
Dang.
You're going to kill me?
God, say that's what I thought. Please say that's what I thought.
No one's going to fucking kill me.
Yes, lad! No one's going to fucking kill me.
Alright? Yeah, so I proved myself, eh?
Oh, okay. Boys, I've been bullshitting you. It weren't real. It was a situation that the guerrillas put... Mate. Okay, fair enough. It weren't real, but it was like a stage thing that Ross didn't know about, right? So that's really how Ross was acting. That was the point, I think. I'm trying to just get out of looking like an idiot there. But, yeah, Ross Kemp didn't know that situation was coming. And they did it. And they were testing him. They called him a warrior. He was, man. That was such impressive composure he had there, man. Because he really thought he was getting attacked. His Afghan docs, yeah, they are incredible. Oh, man. Oh, I missed a lot of the chat. So, Yeah, I know it's a bright light. I'm sorry about this camera setup. It's pretty miserable, isn't it? So yeah, is Afghan doctor interesting? They are. Man's a proper Rambo. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's Charlie Hunman. Is English, and he had to relearn his accent after being in the States for years. Okay, Charlie Hunman, right? The guy from Sons of Anarchy. Just gonna get through some of the chat now. Ross Kemp on gangs, yeah. The Neo Gamer words, I don't know what that is. Ross Kemp knocked on my nan's door during the David Cameron versus Gordon Brown election a decade ago. Why? Teabag, what did Ross want? Can't forget Millwall, yes. Okay, so this is important, right? Millwall were seen, if I remember rightly, as like the most violent. And but bear in mind I'm doing about UK, but I'm probably going to have to talk on all of it. So this is the UK. Millwall was seen as the most violent. Can't forget Millwall. They still have some of the worst fans in the UK. I remember being at a Hull City match in like the early 2010s, and they were tearing the stadium, throwing out seats. They literally, they ransacked the places, right? These places, they'll go to away games and just ruin the stands. The hooligan fights are honestly more interesting to watch than some of the sports itself. So happy to see you are starting to do mountain biking videos. Yeah, I've got a new one in the works at the moment, actually. When they've got a swastika tattoo, it's pretty easy though. Yeah, a lot of them. Some of them do have like tattoos of that stuff. Viva Mexico, just pious Buddhists. More blokes need to give Jimmy the Giant some tenors. I'm not going to say no to that. If you haven't watched the film British version, it's a great insight into how the firm actually works. Is this the what film you talk about, Joe Allen? Is this the Polish one? Hello Peter, hi Jimmy. What's going on, Dante? ASMR stream when? Yeah, good question. True shave head is a tribute to Buddhist monks. The lack of internet and CCTV cameras, etc., meant it was easier to organise in the 80s. Yes, that makes so much sense. So, prior to internet and CCTV, now we need to look into CCTV because I don't know, maybe that is a newer invention. It feels like it probably was 90s where CCTV became more of a thing. But it's a good point, yeah. Internet is obviously gonna, because now people would film this, so your face is like back in the day, you could have a fight, a scrap, and run away, and the police maybe they'd see you and remember your face. But now with CCTV everywhere and phone cameras, it's like you're gonna get caught. So that makes sense. That'd be a reason. So when it comes to this story, I'm going to imagine my conclusion and where it's at now, because the general story arc is present the thing, talk about the thing, and then where is it now. That's obviously going to be a good ending point. So cheers for that, Yorks. Not Santiago. Who's there? Colby Brace. Who there? A legendary YouTuber called Mix Molly Whoopery recently made a documentary on UFC lightweight fighting champion, who was a former hooligan from Czech. Amazing. Thanks for that comment, T-Back. Dude, you're killing it today. First with the dono, and then with all this info. Top guy. That's a really good comment there. Cheers. So we'll have a little watch of that in a minute. It'll be interesting. Cooking stream. Jimmy, hey there, from New Zealand, man. 6 a.m. here, and I'm still more than half asleep. Ever been over? I've never been to New Zealand. Maybe one day. Not your father. Wow, Jimmy live stream. This is new. Yeah, it is. I figured I'd give it a go. That's Eve Online. Funny that you say that, because a video that I'm working on mentions Eve Online, but I'm not going to tell you any more. Grant Mitchell, that's it. That was who he was. So Ross Kemp played Grant Mitchell, I think, in EastEnders. Audio's rather quiet, you say. I can pump that baby. Give it some beans. Look at that. Whoa, you can hear me now, probably. Hopefully. Am I not peaking a little bit? It says I'm peaking. Tell me if I'm not peaking. If I'm peaking, just tell me. Jason Statham, yeah, another like British hard nut TV kind of guy. Film guy as well. Hi from Canada, yo. People would actually watch 100 vs 100 men fistfights. They need to be smarter about monetizing this. I wonder how much of this series was scripted. Yeah, it's a good question. So talking about the Ross Kemp thing, it's like, how much was scripted? I don't know, man. Let's really watch his reaction, because I thought this whole thing was real. So
You're holding us up.
I don't know. It's like,
Show us your left.
in my opinion, it's such a weird response, so nonchalant that it makes me think it's real, because you either act in one or two ways. You either like you're confident, strong in this situation, or you just give in to their demands straight away. if he was acting, I feel like he would have been like, you what? Like straight away, he would have been. If he was trying to play the role of being strong, he would over egg it, and he'd be like, you what? You what? But he weren't. He just stood his ground. Was trying to work it out. Yeah, I think that was real, man. I really do. Yeah, so Ross Kemp plays himself in Ricky Gervais. This shit's so funny. Ross Kemp extras, because like he's got like a sense of humour, right? Yeah, it's super armoured soldiers. Watch this. So this is another brilliant British TV show, Ricky Gervais extras. So the premise of this is that they would like, he was an extra. So Ricky plays this extra on like TV shows, and so they'd get real actors in playing themselves. They had like Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter at the time, and they got Ross Kemp in, but they would play a parodied version of themselves. It was really good.
I'd like to see him come at me with all that I'm a hard bastard stuff. I'd say, put the baseball bat down. Send the miners out. It's just you. Skin on skin.
Okay, so this is like the bloopers. It's so good, man.
I will. Destroy.
He's like taking the piss out of himself.
Brilliant. And again, this time I won't laugh. Exactly the same. I won't laugh. I promise. Okay?
He starts with
I lied.
talk to actual SAS people. I mean, they've told me what it stands for. What does it stand for? Super Army Soldiers.
Plus points for anyone who can actually say what the SAS stands for. Audio is rather quiet. Bust up the volume there, lad. Is it still quiet? Tell me if the audio is still quiet, boys. Okay, I got lost in that. So there's an old video game on football hooliganism called Hooliganism Storm Over Europe. What? There's a video game? No way. Let's put this in the chat, in the notes. What is this, lads? No way. There's a video game for football hooliganism. So you choose your country. Oh, a bit of backstory.
Trash and loot shops, and you can get totally wankered on beer at the nearest pub. Know what I mean? The cops have got a riot squad waiting for you geezers, but nothing to get worried about, is it? There are 2 entrances to the stadium.
Oh, the YouTube audio. Cheers to the other fiver, man. You're making money, boy. Alright, I'm just going to boost the audio. I apologise for that, but cheers for letting me know. God damn, look at my face. Let me just fix that as well. Whoa, you can tell I've been doing this a while, ain't you?
And into the stadium.
Right. That better? There we go. You can probably hear that a bit better now. Thank you so much for the fiver.
Hello, and welcome to Crossfire Inside. I'm Clive Darren. Tonight's episode is about hooligans.
Gonna fix mine.
It must have been in the mid-80s when I first met them. I ended up in a battle zone before a football match that I visited with my dad. We ran for our dear lives
Fix
and
my
made it
camera.
home only to see the sheer devastation on the TV. Hundreds of hooligans rampaging through the streets and fighting with each other. Looting shops, breaking windows, phone booths, street that was by. Tonight, we'll meet the hooligans that made last football season the worst one to date.
This is
We'll
so
follow the leaders
interesting.
of this particular group, known as Bricks and Sniffer.
Like, it was a game,
They'll
but
tell us
then
about the
there's
season and the trail of
cutscenes.
destruction that groups call them.
What's being a red light? Had a bit of trouble getting into the stadium. We got there, didn't we, boys? Yeah, eventually, yeah.
I have a guess at the accent.
The troops are ready after the summer
Where do you
break.
think these lot are from?
All geared up. Here we come. You just give the word, Bricks.
No problem, mate. No problem.
You're off.
Edinburgh? Okay, so, oh my god, this game looks amazing.
Keep your men in and out of control. Follow my instructions carefully.
I'm just
because after this,
amazed
you're
by
on your
this.
own. Script. By left to left. I think any unit of your team by left clicking here. Right. I think you.
So my from what I'm picking up here is that you control a little mob,
Better you'll see.
a little firm. Got your leader, Sniffer. Wonder why he's called that. And there'll be like the bobbies, the police around the corner.
Now right one another.
Let's
We're
skip
just
through.
precise. It's in the select.
This is so cool. So they're just beating up randies, just random people getting some.
Looting.
Can loot shops. Wow, what a find! Whoever shouted this out, I appreciate that one.
You can use this.
They're singing football anthems. So that's the other thing, right? So football anthems are a massive part. So like each football team, obviously, they have their own songs. I don't know why it's all doing this. Football anthems, songs. That's gonna be an interesting one. Like you have Liverpool have "You Never Walk Alone." That's like their song.
Get all units run by holding control while you give the move command. Try it and move some units near the pile of bricks.
Yeah, Green Street Hooligans. That was it. Yeah, that's the full
The
name.
fountain.
Okay, this is amazing. We're finding a lot of good stuff actually. All right, I'm just gonna go through the chat there. Moderator, how are you a moderator? What's the best martial arts to learn for hooligan fights? Kickboxing. Yeah, it's a good question. I wonder what is the best way to fight. London has so many CCTV cameras. Yeah, I mean, like we have the most, I think, on Earth. Maybe that's not true anymore, but it used to be. Neo-Nazis are mostly hated by Polish hooligans because most of them are nationalists and Nazis hated Slavs. Most neo-Nazis hooligans are in East Germany. Okay, that's interesting. So, neo-Nazi link is more so in Germany, Italy? I'll have to look into that. I think there's a big link with the British hooligans as well. This guy's a Chad Wolf. I thought you were going to talk about me there. I was like, well, I appreciate it, but now I realise you were talking about Ross Kemp. I agree. Ross Kemp, big Chad vibes. Yeah, I can't believe we found a football hooligan game. He's AHD, whatever. Oh, he's odd. There we go. Oh, my mic is too loud. Surely. There we go. Is that better? When I said odd, it didn't like that. Yeah, he is odd. Fucking odd. Odd as nails. It's not the expression. Some cold blood. This guy. Yeah. That's all pre-arranged. I don't think it is pre-arranged. Not afraid or at all, or very good at hiding it. Brits don't know how to react to guns. Yeah, that's probably part of it. Do a video on the phenomenon of soundboard prank calls. God, I remember that. I did one back when I was young. Maybe I don't want to dig it up because I'll show my my hidden channel, but I have one of me doing one of those. Can start with the respected gentleman, move to the Welsh chief. I don't know if there's a whole video of that though. Like what would the story be, you know? I remember when what was his name? Oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna remember. Jack Black. There was a Jack Black soundboard you could use. Just make notes later, you won't be disappointed. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting loads of good stuff. I probably wouldn't have found any of this. You guys have really been helpful, so cheers for that. Giga Chad, yeah, he's a Giga Chad for sure. Thoroughly enjoy your vids, lad. Keep them coming. Will do. Alright, I'm trying to get caught up here. In Poland, we have the Hooligan magazine sold in normal bookshops. No way. Hooligan magazine in Poland. I'm going to have to organise this a little bit better. So let's keep all the Polish stuff together because that seems to be its own thing. Polish Hooligan magazine. So we got Hooligan. What's it get? Because this is the thing though, is that it's going to be in Polish. So I'm not really going to be able to understand. Like the translator's going to struggle. Is this it? That's it? This sounds like music. Ramses and the Hooligan. No, this can't be it. What's Empik? I think that's like where you buy it from. So what's the name of the magazine? Polish Hooligan magazine. Football hooliganism in Poland. So we'll watch some videos in a little bit. Just want to get some basics down. How do I get it on the top chat? I think by donating. I'm not sure. That is not me asking for donations. It's just answering a question. What's the best martial art to learn for hooligan fights? I don't know, but that's a good question. I do think, yeah, maybe kickboxing. I don't know, like, you got to think, because a lot of it's weapons, right? They're going to be using weapons. It's quick in and out. It's not like long fights, I guess. I don't know. Bricks. Probably a brick is the best martial art. There's a film called ID from the 80s about a police officer who goes undercover with a firm. Okay, ID. Is that what it's called? ID. 80s ID film. I appreciate all the research you put into your videos. Thank you. Yeah, it's good fun. I like doing this. This is really enjoyable because for me it's just I've learnt a way to turn YouTube rabbit holing into a job. It's good fun. In the UK, you will normally see fights of no larger than 10 versus 10, but in the 80s, it was like 100 versus 100. Dang. I'll have to try and find some of these old fight footage. I wonder if there even is any, you know. Hype on whatever this EVE Online video is. Yeah, it's a part of a video. The Firm is another film. Okay, cool. Film. I'm just trying to blitz through. It's hard to keep up with the chat. And also do it. Audio is good, brilliant. Football derby days, 2 clubs, nice. Alright, let's take a note of all this. All good shit. Jimmy, how many hours does your average video take to make? Good question, hard to answer. It really varies. Some videos, so I just did one on slopestyle BMX. That one took, well, we went and filmed it somewhere, but to write and research it took me like, I'm going to say 3 days, I think. 2-3 days. Audio vids is like, yeah, I got you. Your mic is good. Cheers again, Sir T-Bag. Proper. SS doesn't it stand for Special Air Services? Yeah, that's right. Pretty sure. Game looks hype. It actually looks really fun. I should try it. Looks so old. I'm going to see if I can emulate it. Yeah, dude, give it a go. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but yeah. There's a movie with Elijah Wood. Yeah, Green Street Hooligans. So we're going to put some videos on in a second of actual hooligan fights. Can you call me out? I mean, calling you out is like, hey, you suck. If you want to shout out, that's something different, mate. No problem. I will watch you on Netflix, so a quick 15 is nothing before our currency crumbles. Very kind, man. But yeah, our currency not looking good. Clearly Glasgow, yes, Celtic Rangers. That's probably right. Hi, Jimmy. Can you call me out, please? You've been... I'll shout you out. I don't want to call you out. Call you out is a bad thing. I don't think hooligans have such a strategy to them as the game portrays. It would be crazy if they were just similarly organised military. It would be. I don't know. That's a good question. Are they organised? Because that's going to be... And like, why wouldn't they have strategy? Like, you know, if they're doing this every week and they don't want to get hurt, I mean, there's a bit of Fight Club energy to them, I'm sure, but I reckon they do have strategy. Like, why wouldn't you have strategy? You're fighting every week. You would start learning, you know, like you're going to hug this wall, wait from around this corner. There is going to be strat to it, I'm sure. Hooligans lead to fans being blamed for Liverpool Stadium disaster. Yes, that's a big point, right? So, the Hillsborough disaster was blamed on football hooligan fans, I think. And I think the controversial opinion is that it wasn't their fault. It was the stadium's fault. We'll see. Reminds me of a game called Syndicate. Real hooligans wear Adidas on their feet. So glad you continue to show your experience in aggressive skating. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been loving skating. I haven't skated that much since I got back. But yeah, I will get on it soon. Would be... Oh, I've lost... Oh, no. Where did I go? There we go. Would be very effective because you learn the most about evil. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get caught up. It's very hard to read. Like, I realise me just reading comments is probably a bit boring. Let me scroll right down. There we go. What if they're just impulsively wild in the strategy? What if they... Okay, so we're talking about whether they're organised and have strategy. Someone says, what if they're just... so this is the Anzian. What if they're just impulsive and wild and not have strategies? Why? I mean, I to an extent I could understand, but if you're doing it every week, like football has strategy, you know, you play football, you start learning strategy. Surely their fights will have some form of strategy, like some organisation. You would, if you're just fighting all the time. I know they're drunk and whatnot, but like if you're fighting, you're gonna start learning techniques that work better than others. You would. You're just as much of a Chad as Kemp. I mean, I think that's a great compliment, but I'm probably not. Kemp would definitely take me in a fight, but I'd give it a go. You know, I wouldn't back down. A lot of people in the UK were known as hooligans. Were called casuals back in the 80s and 90s. You're saying that, yeah, the 80s it was like more wild. I guess it depends on what country you're fighting. All right, okay, we're caught up on comments. Let's now watch some football hooligan fights. Hooligan fights from the 90s. Let's start in the 90s. These colours don't run football. Alright. Jesus, lads. Let's check it as an age. It's age restricted. Alright, I can't show you that. Sorry. Alright, this one isn't.
In October 1976, the heroes of England's famous World Cup victory reunited.
It's going to be a very hard video to make without getting it age restricted. So this is another thing, like, it's a little background into making this content, is sometimes you do these topics and they're like age restricted and you don't make any money from it. It's not even that you don't make money, you don't even get views because YouTube will like destroy the video basically. So you gotta like be careful with what you show. So
Players have become a bit broader.
I feel like if you're not saying go do this, you should be able to show it.
A good game of football, a good punch up and a good piss up.
Yeah, this is like him talking about what his weekend is.
But it was one horribly out of touch with reality.
You hearing this? You hearing what they're saying? They're saying stab the bastards.
All we're going for is a good game of football, a good punch up and a good piss up.
Yeah, so what we're going for is a good punch up. I'm just going to make a note of that. I'm going to link that comment there with that time because that timestamp's going to... That's a really... Jesus, that's their life, dude. Their life is just to go to these matches, get in fights and potentially die, but just... and they enjoy it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like as a bloke, every guy in there enjoys fighting. I think it is kind of inherent in us. But like, you find healthy ways to do it and unhealthy ways to do it. Go do martial arts for a healthy way, but these guys just... This is their version of martial arts. It was just more... Like, martial arts, you don't go into it with like a hatred of your enemy. It's the opposite. Well, not enemy, your opponent. These guys go into it with a hatred of their enemy. That's crazy, man.
All we're going for is a good game of football, a good punch up and a good piss up.
What's always crazy to me as well is like, why would you just say that to a camera that's filming for probably the BBC? Your boss is definitely going to see it. Look at them. The boys. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Look how many people there are.
Standing by.
This is nuts, man. Invading the pitch, that's another big thing.
The thuggery of a group of hooligans who could never have claimed to have come along simply to enjoy the football.
Some dirty northern punt spits over me, I'll put a fucking pint glass in his head.
Dang. See, it's that tribalistic mentality. It's that kind of thing of them and us. Like, he was a southerner, so he's probably like from London. And he's talking about any northerner. If he can hear a northern accent, pretty much, he's going to put a pint glass in him. He's going to smash a glass and stab at him. It's what they thought, like, man. It's so crazy. And like, if you just look at that guy,
hooligans,
like,
who could never have claimed to have come along simply to enjoy.
He could be any salesman at any company. He could, during the week, he doesn't look like scourge of the earth, if you know what I mean. He just looks like a normal geezer. He could easily be working accounts, like. And then he comes out on the weekend, and this is his release.
Some dirty northern punt spits over me, I'll put a fucking pint glass in his head.
I'm going to be honest, he probably wasn't working accounts with his accent. He was probably working like construction, something like that, but he kind of sounds like my dad does.
Football, the preserve of fathers.
My dad when he's had a few beers. My dad when he's with mum, totally different man. If he's had a couple of beers, then he's like, yeah, you alright, guys. Love you, Dad, if you somehow watch this.
Sons for generations was in crisis.
Look at this,
Many
man.
young fans were carried away by a culture of casual violence.
And then they stood in the street exposing themselves. And when I say exposing themselves, I mean exposing themselves.
It's like football is like this. In this era, or like at least this kind of what it means to like these, I don't know, like this style of person. It's like it's their release of like being like animals again. You know what I mean? Like, I would say parkour is like that for me. Like, you know, you kind of get in touch with your like animalistic core, and like I think the same for people who do MMA. They're like getting in touch with that same energy. These guys are doing the same thing, but they're doing it in such a fucked up way, and they're doing it with football. Like, football becomes their warring faction, because it is a thing. Like, as much as I hate the kind of them and us, like you see it everywhere, that kind of like racism, you see it in like politics, you know, if you're right wing or left wing, they hate each other, hate all that stuff. But it does seem inherent in humans to have this kind of desire to make an enemy of something. And when there isn't an obvious enemy, you find things to make enemies. Like, these guys found it in football. They would just hate the opposite team.
Now, they've got to put him in jail. They've got to. Either that or they've got to publicly birch.
This is crazy, dude.
Railway stations, high streets, motorway services. Come Saturday afternoons, these were the realms of football's boot boys.
Every football club had its gangs, and at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, cities across the land braced themselves for the inevitable.
Wolves attack, and off march to Richards, and it's a goal.
Yeah, so Matt's just asked, am I doing a video on football hooliganism? Probably. I'm doing some research at the moment. We'll see what we find, but this is fascinating already. I've just been watching a little bit of this, and it's like, just getting into the mentality of why they do this. It's so crazy. Like, they were genuinely risking their lives over just football, and it's not even football. It weren't really about football. Like, it was like their area, and where it didn't matter what league they were in. It's so crazy. So yeah, probably. What up from LA? Rest in peace, the Queen. Yeah, thank you, Vinzel. Hi. Alex says there's a 2002 BBC documentary called Hooligans. Nice. Let's have a little note of that. If you start with a warning and blur out bad stuff, yeah, I mean, sometimes, so we're talking about age restriction. Sometimes they literally just don't want you showing anything. And sometimes it's really hard to even make a video when everything's blurred out. So why I haven't done much about crane climbing. I've got a video about crane climbing, but I've tried in past and they've just been completely obliterated by YouTube. So it's very hard. Like, how do you show climbing a crane by blurring it out? It doesn't really work. Hello from Swiss. Hello. Is anyone from Zurich? I've never been to Zurich. I've been to Davos in Switzerland. It's very beautiful. They used to put sawdust in the pubs back then to soak up the vomit and blood from fighting. Oh my days. Let's put that down. Where did you hear that? If guys, if you come up with interesting little tidbits like that, just try and give me like a little source, or like maybe somewhere I can show that or something like that, because that really helps for my videos. I like to try and make sure it's like, you know, as factual as possible. Jimmy, I've been watching you for a while with me and my wife, and we both love you, mate. Oh, thank you very much. From California. I can't wait. I'm going back to California next year, so maybe I'll bump into you. Why is it only football that attracts such monumental wankers? Interesting question, though. Why football? Why? What is it about football? Like, let's see. Hooliganism in other sports. Is there hooliganism in any other sport than football? That's interesting. Hooliganism is the cancer of football. Unfortunately, this opinion. Okay, so, well, in this country, no, hooliganism is only football. If you get in trouble in any other sport, it's caused by football. I feel like America has some, like maybe American football is a little bit of it, but not like hooliganism. It's just like people might get into fights and stuff. There were clashes during Australian Open. What's that, tennis? No way. So, that's amazing. If that's true, we'll look into that. So I'm just going to make a note of this, and I'm also just going to so I'm going to reference it. I was going to say cross-reference. I don't know what that means. So we're going to just put a link over this, because that's interesting. Like, yeah, why is it just football? I have a theory, but I'm going to have a little... Plenty of violence in US sports. Let's have a little look. Blinkered, America is among the thugs. They like to glamorise European soccer unions, but no one talks about they've got their homegrown problem. Who are you? So the original premise of this article was to wander around Philadelphia on the day that the hated Dallas Cowboys gridiron team came to town, verbally assaulting Texans. Who are ya? That's like a British phrase. It's like, who are ya? Who are ya? It's like what the football people will say. And where's your top boys then? I mean, yeah, that's not a British phrase. RGL until my antics were noticed by Eagles hooligans who would intimidate me with their crew. Journey of violence. Erotic male bonding. Okay. It's not really saying a lot. Okay. I don't know. Maybe we'll save this article to read. It'd be interesting. But it does seem to be almost exclusively football. Riots after the Super Bowl and NBA. Yeah, but it's not quite the same, I don't think. It's not like football hooliganism where it's like they're going out and doing it for their team or like following their team around. They're always organising fights. So I imagine every now and then a load of drunk people, a fight starts and it just starts kicking off, a bad result, whatever. I can see that. Yeah, but I don't think it's the same. Let's have a little look. Really interesting though. My guess, I don't know. My guess is that it's probably just because it's bigger. Without sounding like whatever, snobbish, it appeals to very working class people. I don't know. It has like the culture of drinking mixed in with it, and because there's like so many teams, every place has their own team. Like the only other sports that are like that are in England anyway that are very popular is like rugby, and rugby is very middle class, so they're not going to be like scrapping. Yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. I have to think about it more. I don't want to just speculate what I reckon it is. Just say it's because people are working class. It's pretty fucked up reasoning, but it's probably part of it. It's like a lot of these things. Why is it only football that attracts such... Yeah, crazy. It's like two chimpanzee clans battering each other because they're in the line of sight. Can I have a shout out? Yeah, there we go. You get one. Bittini7. There's your shout out. Yo, Jimmy, Portugal, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, love Portugal. Careful with Pink Floyd in the background. There, your streams will be limited in some countries if you stream. Oh, was that Pink Floyd? Good point. Cheers. I got to think about that when I play music. Yo, what's good? Sup? Hi, want to be friends? Sure. Bike life here too. Bike life, baby. Hello from Dubai. Oh wow, what's up? The 90s even in Sweden was crazy. A lot of influence from England. Yeah, probably. We everything. Hello, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy should talk about bike life. I'm thinking about it. I don't really know what the story is there. It's just people got into doing wheelies in the street. I don't really understand it. Maybe you can give me a bit of information. Vancouver after Stanley World Cup. Let's pop that down. Final. Whoa, okay. Shit. Vancouver riots. Vancouver. Canada. Canadians. They're capable of violence. They're not even capable of being rude. What the fuck?
One last push.
One last push, yes.
Well done, Mum.
Those
Come
you
on.
Trust Vodafone to keep them
With them
connected.
non-skippables. Whoa, look at my camera.
Hard-fought series and a wild night turned into a very dangerous situation in that city, and our Josh Elliott has been tracking all of this. Overnight nasty.
Yeah, as we can see, I mean, it was a terrifying scene there in Vancouver. Angry fans obviously pouring out into the streets.
I will get a proper camera.
Emotion heightened as 4 stabbings in its result
Dang.
were reported.
Over hockey.
So chaotic.
See, that makes sense. Hockey is quite a violent sport, so I could see it with hockey.
And violent.
Dang.
Vancouver.
It's still not even really the same. Like
smash police.
These are riots, so it's like these are fighting the
Winner
police.
take all by last night's loss. The game of hockey. Boston Bruins. A hockey game lost by the hometown Canucks to the visiting Boston Bruins.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
It was the 7th and last game of hockey's Stanley Cup Finals. A winner-take-all end to what night's loss, and the riotous result.
See, this is different, man. This is rioting, which is is noteworthy.
This isn't the reputation we want. This is not what the people want. I'm embarrassed.
It's noteworthy for sure, but it's not the same because they're not fighting someone specific. Like, so football hooliganism is literally warring teams. Like, they go out and fight each other specifically, whereas this is angry drunk fans that just pissed off at a result and it turned into a riot. But that is interesting. Cheers for adding that, Eric. Australian type of football. Yeah, what Aussie football? I don't know. Yeah, curious. Where have I seen you? I don't know. Yeah, no riots in, say, cricket or something. Exactly. Yeah, like, have you ever seen cricket fans riot? What is it about football that makes it happen? American Ultras. It's a parody of actual football hooliganism. American Ultras. A day with America's only football hooligan. Oh, that sounds good.
To get your mind,
needs to check the weather,
your body,
close up on nails,
and your soul ready for a festival. Bless this booth for the speed to be.
Come on.
So here's my guide.
Football hooligan.
What I'm looking to do is make a name in the hooligan game, you understand?
What?
Miami, USA versus Millwall, brother. And after that, I'm looking to shut you guys down. You understand what you get, brother? You think it's all a game?
He would literally just get smacked if he was in a British pub. This can't be real.
I like football. Having a up after this evolved.
Yeah, look at some of this, man. Look at this.
Their fave thing was to meet up after the game.
How would you even know who's your team and who's
this
not?
This became the main event. This evolved into the casual subculture with its own music and clothes, involving lads battering each other in smart Fred Perry shirts to the sounds of oi punk. This luckily waned in the UK a long time ago. But there is one man across the pond in sunny Miami whose life's work is to single-handedly revive and transform the British hooligan scene into America.
England is #1, always and forevermore.
Derek Diablo Alvarez made waves online for uploading his unusual videos, calling out firms from
Just move to England, bro. What are you doing? He loves Britain. Like, he's drinking, is it Guinness? It's Irish, but he's loving England.
Chelsea and Lincoln, claiming he was part of a firm.
Look at that. No one plays with that football. That's like your fake football. No one plays with football that looks like that.
And getting absolutely seen off in the comments section for doing so.
Mr. Millwall, so-called.
No
Mr.
way.
Hooligan, so-called Mr. Top Boy.
He hosts his own cooking show called Hooligan Kitchen.
If you want to be a hooligan, you gotta eat like a hooligan.
And all the while, he brags about his own firm.
What is this guy, man? How many followers does he have? What's his name? Derek Diablo Alvarez. The people that follow him, is he well known? Not really. Do you have a YouTube channel? Okay, mental. 1.2 million views and he only got 1,000 followers. Dang.
The only problem? Miami doesn't have a football team yet. Derek's never been to Britain once.
This is so crazy.
In my American Hooligan League, brother.
And I'm not sure he really likes football at all. Just a shouting part. So is it possible to export British football violence into the US?
Whatever. Very weird. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Very strange. There are statistics that when in Britain the day of a football match or when the national team loses, domestic violence, skyrockets. That's very true. Yeah, I've heard about that. You should talk about bike life community. Yeah, as I say, I don't know what the story is about it, if you know what I mean. People have compared hooliganism with religion before. Interesting. Is there? There's papers on it. So football, hooliganism, religion. I don't know if we can nice similarities between religious devotees and religious experience. So yeah, very nice, dude. Football similar to religious. Is it zealots? I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but like extremists, I suppose. Devotees, they put it down as. Interesting. Okay, obviously I'm not going to read that on stream, so that would just be an insult to you guys, but that is very interesting. Let's get some more football hooligan footage up. I'll play it whilst I'm reading the comments. It's apparently on the rise again. The rise of football hooliganism, the art of the ambush. See, I'm telling you, there's tactics. Why the far right tries to recruit. See, there is like a little bit of a link.
fights in the Premier League, for me, from my point of view, I'd say are a lot more serious, a lot more organised and a lot more violent.
There's just nothing better than having a fight and you don't know if you're getting your head kicked in, you don't know if you're going to kick someone's head in, you don't even know if you're going to get bottled, you don't know if you're going to get glassed. That's the exciting bit about it.
That's interesting. So yeah, football, I didn't know this was because of hooliganism, but they used to have mixed fans. Like rugby I know has mixed fans, but because of football hooliganism, the fans aren't allowed to sit with the other team, so you have to sit like separate parts of the stadium.
The guy whacked a bottle across my face and then I felt my nose bobbing up and down.
You can research by going to any Millwall game. Definitely not going to a Millwall game.
Right into my nose, see everything, it had cut right through.
Detached retina, broken nose.
Interesting. So there's apparently like old school web forums for like hooligans. Why is that doing that? There we go. Keep all this stuff coming, guys. It's great.
Sockets.
What's up, James?
Blah 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 blah.
No worries for the shout out.
I don't see it as that bad because you know I knew what I was there for.
It started in Philly or New York, Baltimore. I don't know, but we're against crime. It's like bikes up, guns down. Interesting. I didn't know that. I am going to take a note of that. How do I do this without showing all my notes? Let's just put it here for now. Bike life, because I didn't know there was much of a story to bike life, but if there is like something like that, that's actually quite interesting.
These are young
like
lads.
how bikes
19, mate.
stop gun deaths or something like that.
I'm 20. I started when I was 16.
I want to watch this part. Do you already have the Feyenoord fans destroying the Roman fountain? No, I didn't even know about that. Christ, you guys are killing it. I'm going to definitely do this more, man. Cheers for all the info. This is great stuff. My man Rosati can talk better because he's outside. He's been outside since the start. You can stream using a GoPro or some pretty decent quality. I do have a GoPro. I lost my GoPro 10. I don't even know where. I mean, that's obviously why it's lost. If I knew where, then it wouldn't be lost, I guess. But I lost it and I'm fuming. I have 2 GoPro like 7s. They're okay, but it's not 10. Greetings from Kroba. Is that Croatia? I don't know. We ride as one, baby. Yeah. I guess we do. I just looked up Australian rules football hooliganism. There's quite a few articles on that. Interesting. Alright. We'll get back to this video in a sec. I just want to... Ever seen gang fights after badminton matches? Tom. Yes, Tom. I haven't. I've seen Devon get a little bit angry sometimes, but no, he hasn't been a fight yet. I only been on bike life since like 2018, 2019 when they took it serious. Nice. Mountain biking is cool. Yeah, I agree. The most intense football hooliganism country is Indonesia? Really? Football hooligan Indonesia? I didn't even know they played football that much over there. Mate, we've got so much to watch. Us Brits turn into hooligans at boxing or MMA events. Do we? Is that true? No matter if you can wheelie or no matter what we ride together. You're just giving me the buzzwords ready. The mantras. Montreal Canadiens fans right after a win. Rotterdam United versus Millwall hooligans. I said Rotterdam, did I? Rotherham. I'm such an idiot. Rotherham. Is that like a beef? No matter the race or nothing. Dan, you've really just given me the spiel right now. I appreciate it. Bike life forever, baby. We outside. I think it's because they're all bald. That's cruel. A lot of them are bald though. Casual skinhead culture is an interesting subject.
These are good lads, yeah, from the Blazing Squad. These are younger lads.
19, mate.
Jimmy, your vids are so good on thank you. The most intense football.
I started when I was 16. I'm 20 now.
Yeah, that's interesting, Tom. Celtic Rangers, Celtic versus Rangers is like a religious thing, so that has its own story behind it, I'm sure, as to why they're fighting. It's more about religion. Alright, let's watch this.
These lads are regularly involved in football violence, so will only speak with their identities hidden.
Manchester United to state as well, this little fuckers. Probably a little Munich game.
These are the country's most prolific football offenders, but they don't see it the same way.
We get treated like scumbags anyway, and I don't fucking know why. Really, at the end of the day, we're only meeting people who are exactly the same as us, just off different estates from different parts of the country, who want exactly the same as us to go to the match with their boys, meet us and have a good scrap, you know what I mean?
That's really interesting, man. The whole thing about like a good scrap, like, because I get what they're saying. Like, you see the first clip we played earlier, he was talking about we just want a good fight. These guys talking about we just want a good scrap. It's interesting. It's like just having a little punch up isn't that bad. I agree. Like, if they met in a field and just had a little punch up, yeah, it's not ideal. It's kind of weird, but I get it. Whereas when they say that, I don't know how true that is, because people get stabbed and stuff at these things. So it's not just a good little scrap. It is people being killed. But I am gonna put that in there because it is. It seems to be that they just want these like nice little fights. And like, I understand, like, me and my mates, we have a few drinks. I've definitely had fucking jiu-jitsu matches with my mates when we're drunk. That's like it's like a normal thing when you've had a few beveroons.
We want exactly the same as us to go to the
This
match,
this kid sounds like he could only be 15 years old.
I don't fucking know why. Really, at the end of the day, we're only meeting people who are exactly the same as us, just off different estates from different parts of the country, who want exactly the same as us to go to the match with their boys, meet us and have a good scrap, you know what I mean? Good fair fight, like.
The general public, they'll think hooligans or lads, casuals, whatever, they're going to go down to the game, anyone who's from a different town, different club or whatever, will just attack them and start hitting them from over. Well, we don't fucking do that. We don't want to fight random people, we want to fight the firms, and that's what we did.
So this is the interesting thing, right? So a lot of people would claim, and it probably happened, like random fights would happen. People who are just normal people walking down the shops or coming to the football match would just get beaten up by these lads. But they're sort of saying that it's not that. They want to go and fight the firms. Like, there are other firms. And in that sense, it's kind of like, you know, MMA. And like, I'm wondering, like, why has there ever been an effort to try and organise this? You know, like, legitimately organise it, like, literally get them a location and let them fight with just no weapons, no smashing up shops and stuff like that, but just meeting and having a scrap. Why have they not tried? Have they tried that?
Whatever, they're going to go down to the game, anyone who's from a different town, different club or whatever, will just attack them and start hitting them from over. Well, we don't fucking do that. We don't want to fight random people, we want to fight the firms, and that's what we did.
The lads used the estate next to the stadium to attack rival firms as they were escorted to and from the ground.
We've had a line of lads from the road all the way down to where you don't run, you just quick walk to the main road. As soon as you get to the main road, bang, steam straight into them. The police don't know what's in, the firm don't. You've got the element of surprise, you've got 2-3 seconds steam into where everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? Then the police have got a dilemma, they've got, right, do we break the escort and push these kids back who've just run into us? Do we stand there and keep these lads in the escort? Do we split half and half and do both and risk losing the whole thing? The police know what to do.
You can feel them coming down the road because you've been watching them all the way, and you're thinking, right, we need to pick our moment. And then when you're here and you just know it's fucking mint. There's nothing like it. You just want to be out there fighting, but obviously scared about getting nicked, getting bit off the dog. That's all part of the buzz, though. It's mint.
You won't ever get a buzz like you do when you come to the football. That's the best buzz you'll ever get in your whole life. And it's a drug. I'm addicted to it. I'm a drug addict.
See, this is an interesting question from Alex. These dudes genuinely just love fighting for some reason. Yeah, it's like, I do think it is innate, and like, you can notice. I mean, I was going to say they're all young, but that isn't true. There are some older lads, but it is a thing. I think for lads, like, we do like fighting. I think a lot of us love scrapping. Like, I do. I know I do. Like, I remember in school I used to get into fights, and I would deliberate, not like I was never a bully in any way. I'd always like intervene in fights. If someone was getting bullied or something, I would tend to step in and get in a fight, and I loved it. Like, I did love it. And there is something about fighting. I think there is something in a lot of young lads that loves it, and it does just seem that these boys love a fight. Like, and I bet you there's that sort of camaraderie. I'm trying to look, because obviously this video is probably going to be painting them out in a bad light, and I'll probably not be. I don't know, I'm going to try and be unbiased on it, but you have to see it from their perspective. They're with their mates and they're going to war. It's like, imagine the the camaraderie amongst you and your lads. Like you go to the pub after it and talk about, oh yeah, how this guy saved him, how he grabbed him. Oh, I was about to get fucked up, and then Bobby came in and just gave him a 1-2. Blah. Like it's you can see if you're just trying to see from their perspective. It's like you can understand somewhat what they like about it, but it's when it turns into attacking random people, breaking property, shit like that, and it just ruins football for people. I'm just really curious why they haven't tried to organise these fights a bit more, because that would be quite interesting.
Yes, I am. I'm a drug addict, me. When I've not got all this on.
So Alex is saying here they used to arrange the fights in advance. Leaders of each crew or firm would contact each other. Yeah, I've heard about that. They would meet and talk about it. So I'd be interested to find out about that a little bit.
I'm an everyday guy. I work for a living, I pay my taxes, but I'm an addict. I tried stopping for a while, for a good few months, and I was literally, I was just depressed. Like, I've done it for how long? 4 years, and I won't be going away from this like until the day I'm in my coffin. That's it.
Dang, so Lawrence here is saying, just remembered one of my mates was jumped and left in hospital after a Newcastle versus some Russian team they were playing. He wasn't even at the match and 3 of them just jumped him. It does happen. This definitely did happen. Like, I don't know if it was... these guys are trying to sort of paint it like, look, we're just lads, we like having a little scrap. And it might be true for these guys, but there are definitely some that were like going out and attacking people. And when you're pissed drunk, you might just see someone walk past, you've just come out of one fight, your adrenaline's high, you just see another guy, you go for him, like, or you just, I don't know. There's definitely some craziness in it, and that's fucked up about your mate. I hope he's alright. I know it's probably a while ago, but yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. Yeah, the police perspective would be interesting. Yeah, Matt, that's exactly it, right? Oh shit, what have I just got? That's exactly it. No one likes hitting someone who doesn't deserve it, but hitting somebody who does, it's an amazing feeling. Like, if you punch someone in the face who really deserves it, I'm not condoning you do this, by the way, YouTube, don't take me down. But it's like, yeah, there's something about it. There's something about it for sure. Oh, damn, I've just missed loads of chat. Okay, so we were going to look, I want to look at this, right? So someone put in the comments, the battle, where was it? Battle of Beverick. It's a famous battle. Is there a video of it? The Battle of, oh, come on. This fight changed hooliganism.
Battle of Beverwijk between 2 of the strongest Dutch hooligan firms.
I have seen
and Feyenoord Rotterdam SCF.
Damn, look at some of these. Let's have a little zoom in on these.
Hooligan firms. Ajax F-side.
These are serious looking people, aren't they?
Between 2 of the strongest Dutch hooligan firms. Ajax F-side.
Dang. Look at them. That's an army. That's an army. But that's it. It's an army, right?
And Feyenoord Rotterdam SCF.
I think that's part of the theme of this video. I think hooliganism, if I'm just going off the shit we've seen here, and I'll obviously research it properly, there is an element of warring tribes, and you're with your tribe, your fellow brothers, and you're going out and fighting the enemy. They've recreated and re-simulated it into football, and they're using that as a way to do, like, sort of get that feeling. A feeling that is probably very instinctive in a lot of young men. I mean, look, I don't know if it's sexist or whatever to say, but there's not a single woman in all of that. So I would say it's very clearly a male-driven thing here, and there is something in us that loves. Oh look, yeah, one lady there. Yeah, something in us that just loves scrapping.
Feyenoord Rotterdam SCF.
It's like if we go back all the way like cavemen, it's probably got some link to that, man.
Was an important and perhaps the most famous fight between the 2 great rivals. Amsterdam, the cultural city, and Rotterdam, the working class city. A fight that forever changed the fate of the Dutch scene through the tragic death of Carlo Picorni.
What do you mean what happened? I don't know what happened. Are we back? What did it say? That's having a little... Probably blocked due to violent videos that are on YouTube. Are we back? That's peak, man. I hope I didn't get fucking... I'll get an email if it was like a... Your stream due to a copyright. Ah. So, yeah. Apparently it was to do with copyright. I've got to be careful. If I hear music, I have to like turn it off quick. Alright, well, we're back. I just went on this massive tirade about... It was kind of interesting, they probably missed it, so... I was just talking about how, look, these are armies of men. If you think about it, these are like... Back in the day, like, when we were, I don't know, when we were in more, like, primitive times, we'd have been going to war. And I see it as these guys are probably feeling it like they're going to war with their brothers. And that's how they probably see it. And I reckon football is their way of channeling that. It's fucked up. It's not healthy, but it seems to be... I reckon that's part of the psychology.
And Feyenoord Rotterdam SCF was an important and perhaps the most famous fight between the two great rivals, Amsterdam, the cultural city, and Rotterdam, the working class city. A fight that...
Yeah, it was Pink Floyd, by the way, I think, whoever called that out. I think I got taken down because of that.
That forever changed the fate of the Dutch scene through the tragic death of Carlo Picorni, one of the most important members of the Ajax F-side firm.
Modern day tribalism, for
But
sure.
how did all these events happen? The direct cause of the fight was an incident on the 60th of February 1997 when a group of F-side members attacked a group of SCF members who were on their way to Feyenoord's away match against FC Volendam. This happened on the A10 highway surrounding Amsterdam. Both groups were to arrive with 50 hooligans each.
So this seems like it was organised. 50 hooligans each, ready for combat.
Ready for combat.
Is it on the bridge?
Feyenoord hooligans, SCF, however, arrived with 75.
Whoa, dirty play. How are you going to do that? Turn up with 75 and you agreed on 50 each? Mental.
The F-side group were forced to escape since they had actually arrived with 50 fighters as previously agreed upon between the two groups.
That's peak, man. If you're going to say 50, go 50-50. This is the thing, they talk about the kind of gentlemanly agreement, like when they're saying we just want a good scrap and shit like that. It's like, you got to stick to that if you're going to say it. You know?
Reported on the incident, and in one interview, an SCF member called the F-side cowards. This provocation on national television incensed the F-side, who demanded another fight. This fight would eventually be planned on the 23rd of March, when Feyenoord had at AZ Alkmaar. To get there, they would need to pass Amsterdam, which provided a cover for SCF to be close to the city and get...
Damn, look at them with weapons, man.
March 23, 1997. Police had picked up some information about a planned fight, so they were on high alert.
If I speed this up, do you reckon it will be his normal voice?
Resources were spread very thin.
Nope.
The match between AZ Alkmaar versus Feyenoord obviously required a lot of manpower, and even though they knew a fight was going to happen, the location could be anywhere between Amsterdam and Alkmaar. There was a report of a large group of Feyenoord fans waiting in a roadside cafe close to the Amsterdam airport. A smaller group was walking around the field near the Beverwijk Bazaar.
This is crazy already. And then when we started fighting. Just look how many people there are. It's just the way they filmed it as well. Are these like news people, do you think, filming it?
Northwest of Amsterdam, and there were Ajax fans waiting at a McDonald's. 45 minutes later,
pre-game Mackies, pre-fight Mackies.
A police report came in of a massive group of
SCF
members had stopped their cars on the side of the A9 highway, right next to the field near Beverwijk. Then a report came that the F-side walked right towards them. 150 were Ajax, 250 were Feyenoord hooligans. Both groups were armed, carrying bats, knives, hammers, axes, chains, and flare guns. One Feyenoord hooligan even sharpened the point of an umbrella.
The football one? No, what's that?
Policemen stood between them. Seeing how outnumbered the police was, the officers couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you just asked how did the police do anything, and it's like the officers can't do anything.
But retreat and watch the battle unfold.
Dang, they just sat and watched. They were like, look, we can't fix this. These boys are going for it. There's like 100+ people. What are you gonna do?
The Feyenoord hooligans kept the upper hand, trapped the Ajax hooligans along the motorway while attacking from both sides.
Yeah, I think civilians are filming this.
Managed to surround
Camera's too
the
low quality.
And the scene turned into a bloodbath. The cornered and outnumbered Ajax hooligans either fought for their lives or fled for their lives, most of them choosing the latter option. By the time police backup arrived, everyone was gone. As CF went back to their cars and headed for Alkmaar, the F side dispersed and no arrests were made.
Where's this fight?
What exactly went down is unknown and will likely always be, as very few admit to have been part of the battle.
I didn't actually see any real fighting there. Was I being dumb?
While attacking from
Oh no, they were. I was reading chat.
The Ajax hooligans along the motorway while attacking from both sides.
But where are they actually like beating people up?
Fled for their lives. Most of them arrived. Everyone on the F side
I don't know.
and will alone speak about it. Car, an astronomical amount of discarded weapons, and 2 unconscious men, both Ajax hooligans. One of them was stabbed, had several head wounds and lots of bruises, but he would barely survive the battle. Of the old guard of the F side, one of the top boys. He had been stabbed of the old guard of the F side, one of the top boys.
That's how much of a big deal these firms are. Like that whole stadium is holding that flag of his face. They would have. Imagine, how do you go and get that printed? Who do you go to? In the 90s as well. I could Google that, maybe get something. But that was in the 90s. That's how much effort these people went to. They really cared. And it was obviously like he was a top boy. Like he was like one of the main guys in the firm.
He had been stabbed with a knife and hit with both a claw hammer and a chain.
It's just such a weird reason to kill someone, you know, football.
Hooligans were arrested near the Alkmaar stadium a few hours later, including a 21-year-old Feyenoord hooligan out of Picorni. Hooligans were they.
But it doesn't seem like there was actual footage of much of the fight in there.
And would prevent those with stadium bans to enter any.
Crazy, dude. It's kind of eerie watching this. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. What have I missed in the chat? There's a good video on the channel, Oversimplified. Nice. I'll have a little watch. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It may not prevent violence outside the stadium, but at least kicked out of the stands. Some of the.
Did you find a new editor? No, I'm still looking, but I haven't really replied to any of the emails. I've been so busy.
The second measure
got to wait a little while, but I'll reply to every email that's sent at some point.
Fans with the known risk of violence to travel to the stadium in an arranged bus or train monitored by the police.
Let's have a little look.
Quick, you have 2 seconds to name these 2 countries. You're wrong, unless you got it right. Then good job. They are, of course, Honduras and El Salvador. One thing these 2 countries have in common is being fanatic about football. Or if you're a freedom-loving patriot, soccer. But do they love it so much they would go to war over it? You bet they would, and that is no bueno. If you look at these 2 countries, you might notice one major difference, and that is that this one is a lot bigger than this one. However, this one had a larger population than this one, made up mostly of farmers, and there wasn't enough land for them to live and work on. So they started moving from El Salvador to Honduras in search of land, and by the 1960s, a huge number of illegal immigrants had crossed over the border from El Salvador. Meanwhile, in Honduras, it's 1963, and this guy has just staged a military coup to prevent the rise of communism and is now the military leader of the country. He immediately began harassing the peasants' unions and other left-wing groups, but he's a little insecure about the legitimacy of his leadership. So he holds an election and wins, but then the opposing party says, hey man, that election was clearly corrupt and fraudulent, and also you've been bribed by the rich American banana companies who are taking all of our bananas tax-free, and really legit that is immigrants for local.
Where's the football bit coming?
The Salvadoran elite were furious and protested, citing moral reasons, but in reality, they were just getting a little too crowded. So tensions were about as high as they could be, but then...
No way. Are they exaggerating?
It's the 1970 World Cup qualifiers, and both countries finished top of their qualifying tables, so it was now time for them to play against each other in a series of matches. The first match took place in Honduras. The night before the game, Hondurans gathered outside the Salvadoran team's hotel, making noise and taunting them. The next day, Honduras defeated the exhausted Salvadorans with a late 90th minute goal. After the match, a young Salvadoran fan, unable to bear her country's defeat, shot herself.
What?
Disturbingly, the Salvadoran government glorified the incident and made her into a national hero. And at the next game, fans brought pictures of her to the stadium. Emotions were running high as the next match took place in El Salvador, and this time the tables were turned. The Hondurans had to endure a sleepless night in their hotel, and the next day, before the match started, instead of the Honduran flag, the Salvadorans raised a dirty rag. So great job at reducing tensions. El Salvador won.
Damn, they were just like one-upping each other. They were like, nah, fuck you, nah, fuck you.
Decisively over the exhausted Hondurans. while spectators battled in the stands. Team Honduras fled home in a bulletproof bus with rocks being thrown
Oh
at them,
my
and the Honduran
God.
coach reportedly told his players that they were lucky they lost. In response to the defeat, Hondurans began terrorizing the Salvadoran settlers even more, in some cases reportedly throwing them off their land and burning down their homes, and the immigrants began fleeing back to El Salvador. The final game in Mexico would decide who went to the World Cup. It was close, but El Salvador came out victorious, knocking Honduras out of the tournament. The atmosphere was riotous.
I can't believe what I'm watching, dude. I can't believe
Literally. And back in Honduras, attacks on the Salvadoran immigrants further increased. This was too much for El Salvador to bear. With its people under attack and an unmanageable refugee crisis on its hands, El Salvador severed all diplomatic ties with Honduras and declared war.
No way.
The football war is also known as the 100 Hours War, because that's how long it lasted, making it one of the shortest wars in history.
A little kerfuffle, a misunderstanding, not war.
El Salvador started by carrying out air raids and
I take it back. Air raids!
Strategic locations within Honduras, including Toncontin International Airport, which prevented the Honduran Air Force from getting into the sky.
Dude.
Then, with their superior army, they began an invasion along two major roads, complete with light tanks and infantry. Their advance was rapid, and they were quickly approaching the Honduran capital. Then
they were literally taking land. This is an actual war. It weren't like a little...
The Organization of American States met in a bit of a panic and unanimously agreed that war between El Salvador and Honduras was a bad thing and probably shouldn't continue. So they went to El Salvador and said, "Can you please stop invading?" And El Salvador declared, "Not until they stop being jerks."
This is just crazy how petty like countries can be. Like, I don't know. They're not really like... Were they worried about communism coming in? Was that what they said from the other country? Or was that from overseas? Because it's just neighbouring countries. Like, what are they... They were just like pissing on each other's doorsteps for no reason. Weird.
And so the war went on.
I noticed this with like, this is your neighbouring country, right? You want to get on with them. It's like, I noticed this when I was in America. All these, I went to, where was it? Pittsburgh? No, not Pittsburgh. Wherever the fuck. Oh, where all the like Amish people are from, which would be an interesting video as well. But anyway, wherever that was, Pennsylvania, they would have like their political beliefs on flags out front of their doors, nearly every house. And they would live next to someone they completely disagree with. And it was like they were almost just sticking their middle finger up at their neighbour. I was like, why are you doing that? Like, if you disagree on something, just keep it to yourself. Like, surely you just want to get on with your neighbour. It doesn't matter.
Honduran Air Force finally got into the sky, and with aid from neighboring Nicaragua, they successfully carried out air raids on Salvadoran air bases and oil facilities, crippling the Salvadoran supply line and stopping their advance dead. Caught in a bit of a stalemate, the situation was no longer advantageous to El Salvador, so when the Organization of American States once again asked them to stop and agreed to ensure the safety of the Salvadoran immigrants, El Salvador relented, and a ceasefire was organized on the 18th of July. Then the OAS said, "Can you now please withdraw your troops from Honduras? No, please, no, please, no, please, no. Do it or we'll sanction you." You know what? Just for you? I'll do it. So El Salvador pulled its troops out of Honduras on the 2nd of August, and with casualties in the thousands, the war was over. The economies of both nations were damaged by the war, and El Salvador didn't have the capability to take care of all the returning immigrants, a crisis that eventually helped cause a civil war. The war left behind land and border disputes, some of which are still a cause of tension to this day. El Salvador went on to play in the World Cup, but lost every match they played and didn't make it past the group stage. So in the end, nobody achieved anything, and there were no winners.
What
Except
an
for this
insane war. Yes, lad. Crazy. Alright, well, we've got so much information. Look what we got. So, it's just from chatting with you guys. I don't even Google anything myself, really. So, Balkans, like Poland and that are meant to be the craziest. So, that's something we know. The Rise of Foot Soldiers is a film. I've seen that. Saturday Special Trains. I want to look into this. Curious. Polish, they're actually trained, some of them. Paramilitary. They apparently even have magazines. A lot of Roscamp content on it, so we can look into some of that. Apparently, English football hooliganism was in the 80s. That was where it kind of peaked, and there's probably a link to like it being prior to CCTV. We've got Millwall, stuff about that. The neo-Nazi link, the Hillsborough disaster being blamed on football hooliganism. That was where tons of people died. Yeah, there's so much stuff here. The question of like, why is it just football? Why is it mainly football? It doesn't seem to be much else. Obviously, just got that war there. So there's so much stuff there. Now I'll take all of this, and then I have to try and piece together some kind of story, and I can kind of see how I'm gonna do it. I've just got to work out how much detail I want to go into things, because there's so many with these kind of videos. You can just genuinely continue forever. Like, I could just talk about each individual one. There might even be multiple videos within this video sometimes, but for this video I need to be concise, and so there'll be a lot of interesting information here that's just never going to make the video. But I thought I'd go through it with you guys, because to be honest, that was really helpful. So I don't know if you guys want me to keep doing this. I would like to keep doing it, but if you think you'd watch these, let me know. Just comment in here quickly saying like this. Yeah, let's keep doing this, because that was really helpful for me researching. So, and if it was enjoyable for you guys, all the better. So yeah, that Tim Sheaf video, I really enjoyed making that. I've never actually met Tim in person. No, I did. I met him at some vegan conference when I was a vegan, and I don't remember that very well, and he didn't remember. I don't think. This channel talks about a lot of history stuff. Yeah, can you just make it so after the stream we can watch it as a video? I'm probably not going to keep this up on my channel. I might do a clips channel. I've been thinking about doing that if I come across something interesting, but I want to do it when my camera looks better. I mean, at the moment I look mental. So yeah, cheers everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll keep it up. Yeah, I'll definitely. I reckon I need to get a better camera, because look at me, I look nuts. Alright, thanks everyone. I'll catch you soon. I'll try and do this maybe next week. Keep an eye out.